Let's talk about something that's quietly draining businesses everywhere. It's a problem that won't show up on a balance sheet, but believe me, it costs millions. It's called compliance fatigue. You can almost feel it, right? That sense of being buried under a mountain of rules, of always playing catch up. Yeah, that feeling. If that idea of just drowning in rules and regulations sounds a little too familiar, you are definitely not alone. That exact feeling is compliance fatigue. And it's not just some minor inconvenience. It's a real, genuine risk to your organization. So how can you actually tell if your organization is suffering from it? Let's, approach this like a doctor for a second. The very first step is just spotting the symptoms, and they are often hiding in plain sight. Have you ever seen your teams just completely tune out during a training session? Or maybe you've noticed people taking little shortcuts just to get through the day. Those are classic signs. The second compliance becomes a mindless, just get it done checkbox exercise instead of something meaningful, fatigue has set in. Spotting the symptoms? That's step one. But if we actually want to find a cure, we have to diagnose the disease itself. So what exactly is compliance fatigue anyway? Okay, so here's what we're really talking about. This isn't just being a little tired of paperwork. It is a deep-seated mental exhaustion that comes from being on a relentless marathon, a race to keep up with policies and laws that literally never stop changing and growing. So what's causing this whole epidemic? Well, it's pretty much a perfect storm. The sheer volume of regulations is just exploding. The rules themselves are getting way more complex, and a lot of companies are fighting this battle with old, outdated tools and not nearly enough people. Then you pile that entire burden onto one small team, and you've basically created a pressure cooker of stress. Now, you might be thinking, okay, a little stress, what's the big deal? But the cost of ignoring this is very, very real, and it is incredibly high. To put this all into perspective, let's just look at one industry, healthcare. The average hospital in the US deals with 629, and no, that is not a typo, 629 different regulatory requirements. Can you even imagine trying to keep all of those straight? And that number, it comes with a pretty staggering price tag, $7.6 million. That's what an average hospital spends every single year just on the paperwork. Think about that for a second. That's money that isn't going to patient care. It's going to managing the rules. And here's the ultimate paradox, the real kicker. All that burnout from trying to follow the rules can actually lead to, you guessed it, breaking them. This quote from a cybersecurity report says it all. When teams are totally overloaded, critical tasks, like say patching security flaws, get pushed to the side. The very effort to be safe can make you less safe. And the damage goes way beyond just a few missed deadlines. It creates this huge ripple effect. Critical mistakes are made, decision-making grinds to a halt, your best people get burned out and leave, and eventually, your company's entire culture and reputation can start to crumble. Okay, enough about the problem. Let's talk about the cure. The good news is there is a treatment plan, and it all starts with building smarter systems. The goal here isn't to do less compliance, it's about doing it more intelligently. Work smarter, not harder. Focus your energy on the highest risk areas. Clean up those old, overlapping, or outdated rules. And maybe most importantly, build compliance directly into your daily workflows so it feels natural, not like some extra chore. And this is where technology becomes a total game changer. Think about it. Automation can handle all those repetitive, soul-crushing tasks. Real-time monitoring can be your constant safety net. And having centralized data means no more hunting around for information. It's really all about letting technology do the heavy lifting so your people can focus on what actually matters. But look, smart systems, they're only half the battle. The best tools in the world won't do a thing if they're in a broken environment. And that's why the second part of the treatment, and you could argue the most important part, is building a healthier culture. Every company falls somewhere on this spectrum. On one side, you've got the blame culture, where compliance is seen as a burden and mistakes get punished. On the other side, you've got a supportive culture, where it's a shared value and everybody takes ownership. The goal, obviously, is to move from the left side of this chart to the right. So how do you actually build a culture like that? Well, it absolutely has to start at the top, with leaders who are visibly championing the effort. It means sharing the responsibility, not just sticking it in a silo. And it means creating an environment where people feel safe to speak up and where they know their hard work is actually seen and valued. This part is so important. So much of good compliance work is invisible, right? It's all about preventing bad things from happening. But if the only time your team ever hears about compliance is when something goes wrong, you're basically creating the most thankless job in the world. You have to celebrate the wins, acknowledge the hard work, and make people feel proud of what they're doing. So when you put it all together, what's the final goal here? It's finding a path to what you could call organizational wellness. A state where being compliant doesn't come at the cost of being totally exhausted. Really, what this all boils down to is balance. You shouldn't have to sacrifice high standards for a healthy team, or the other way around. The real goal is to achieve both at the same time, to maintain excellence without causing burnout. Ultimately, this is the transformation we should all be aiming for. When you combine those smart, efficient systems with a culture of shared ownership and real appreciation, compliance stops being a drain. It actually becomes a source of collective pride and a real organizational strength. So I'll just leave you with this one final question to think about for your own organization. Is your compliance program a safety net that actually keeps you secure? Or has it become a tangled web that's just trapping your own people? Your answer really tells you everything you need to know.